Hi, and welcome back to POV, your favorite political commentary show. Now today, Zimbabweans, we're going to have a grown-up discussion, but I think you're going to like it. So let's get it. Now, it's rather commonplace in dark times such as this to hear people say statements like, whoa. Now, this is still a family show. But yet, those are common things that we say all the time, especially in this country. But one of the biggest issues we have as a nation is that for the most part, we can pinpoint where the majority of our problems come from. And often, when you can pinpoint where your problems come from, psychologically, you can gloss over your contribution that you bring to those issues. Yes, no marriage is perfect. It's like the dude who comes to the fuel queue with a truck filled with jerry cans and 450-liter drums and then complains about the amount of time people spend at the pump. It's just poor etiquette, but also points to the obvious that while he can complain about the queue itself, he's also a big reason of why the issue is there. Isn't it sad, though, how we just understand that reference and makes a lot of sense? To be Zimbabwean. Now, in case you haven't guessed it, this week we're looking at our individual and collective actions that feed into the state of the nation. Let's gear up. Since we're primarily a political commentary, let's start with the political aspect of the equation. November 2017 brought with it great hope that led many to believe that change and prosperity was on the horizon. Never in the last 20 years had the country experienced such positivity since the GNU and the pure multi-currency economy. We looked at our respective political leaders to usher us into a new Zimbabwe that automatically had jobs, wealth, and health for all of us, all to the tune of Mkoma Jazz Kutunga Kwaru. And in so doing, we forgot that we elect our leaders. We vest them with authority and power to guide us through thick and thin to fulfill their mandate. Whether they are elected or appointed by popular vote or by merit is up to us. Now, democracy, being a system in which a select few lead authority derived from their constituents, means that we should also understand and cherish our responsibility and exercise it accordingly. We can't now look at our elected officials with side eyes and say, but this person knows nothing. And anyway, why are they in this position? Because collectively, we put them there. Now, before you lynch me for being elitist, I'm not speaking to the fairness of a political system. I'm speaking to our individual understanding of being in control of our own situation. All too often, we let whatever biases or foregone conclusions we think we know get in the way of doing what is right. Voting is just one of the bigger picture issues in which if we don't apply ourselves toward the greater good, nothing will change. Saying I don't vote because nothing will change is like saying I don't pay my water bill because I don't get water anyway. We then find ourselves owing local authorities millions in unpaid bills in a chicken and egg scenario of payment versus service. It has to stop somewhere. Now, beyond the political, we look at our everyday lives and interactions. Corruption is a big thing. And we like to look at corruption as this big crime involving vast sums of money. But at its very core, it's a crime of integrity. In wanting to get things done in the shortest time possible, we have institutionalized it with names like facilitation fees or Maria Sadza or Nbadisoka drink. We have rationalized it as the way things are just done. If you don't scratch someone's back, you suffer the humility and indignity of waiting for a functionary to look at you sideways and tell you no, even though everything you've done up to that point is 100% correct. We have normalized rent-seeking behavior by limiting ourselves from basic information. Everything has become about who you know and not what you know. Simple processes often begin with the words, "Cha, do you know someone who works at," or "I need to get something from here. What's the quickest way around the system?" We create our own bureaucracy and then we blame the system. We want to be paid extra to provide the service, but we're already being paid to do it. This begs the question, if our president Thanos the country, and by that I don't mean that he halves it, but rather drastically changes our situation for the better, overnight with the snap of a finger, how many of us would actually be able to live in a straight and narrow Zimbabwe? Now, in other spheres, multitudes of social media posts have been devoted to naming and shaming things like bad customer service. The victims, in some cases, also turn out to be the perpetrators of their own appalling service in their own spheres of control. Think about it. If you go to Jonso, not necessarily under a tree, and he gives you a take it or leave it attitude while serving you. In your frustration, you inadvertently do the same to your own customer. Why? Because that's just the way it is. It's Zimbabwe. And if you don't like it, leave. I mean, when you get to your favorite fast food outlet and your options are $1.75 US or the $17.50 RTGS for 2 pieces of chicken and some chips, do the maths. We're killing each other economically in the name of survival. This same attitude permeates throughout our lives. We see it on our roads, in our queues, in our dealings with Jonso under a tree. And it's a dog-eat-dog-out world out there. But does it have to be? Does it really have to be? The concept of Hunu or Ubuntu isn't just a word or a mantra. I am because we are. If we can start getting the small things right, we can start getting the big things right. From acts as small as just greeting the person next to you in a combi or bus to queuing in an orderly manner and doing things the way they should be done without being asked. Let's face it, we're all in this together. The country is ours. We know what we want and we know what we want to see. We know what we want to achieve, but we must also be strong enough to do what needs to be done. Doing the right thing isn't always easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to do, especially when you think no one is watching. It's one of the hardest things to do when everyone around you is doing the wrong thing. We all feel the pinch and vice of our economic situation, but we must remain steadfast in doing what's objectively right. But in doing the right thing, let's consider this. A married man, knowing the dire situation his family faces, takes money from his wife's emergency fund and invests it in a long-term sure reward scheme that will set up his family's success for the foreseeable future. The major sticking point is that the family must endure some serious belt tightening in the short term. Now, if the man didn't consult his wife before going through with this plan, he risks a hostile home environment stemming from that initial deception. He has forced his family to go hungry for reasons best known to him, regardless of how well-meaning. His family will demand that the deal be terminated prematurely to stop this hunger. They want what they can see, touch, and understand. And this is where we stand. But conversely, if the man had explained himself and his plan to his family before making the decision, they would have been better prepared for the road ahead mentally. They would know what lies ahead and what rewards comes after the pain. Now, of course, if you're hearing this is a metaphor for what we're really going through. But my word of encouragement to us as Zimbabweans is this. Just because you are not the reason for why the problems in your life are happening, it is still your responsibility to ensure that it doesn't ruin your life. Just because we know why things are the way they are doesn't mean we must carry on its legacy long into our future. Let's think about these words in our comment section in our live session next Thursday as we discuss how as Zimbabweans can move forward with our country. I come to you this morning, afternoon, or evening, deeply humbled and giving my heartfelt apology to all Liverpool fans around the world who I've insulted numerous times on this show. While I did not think that your team was not capable of doing good things, I wasn't aware that whatever you were doing was going to work. Simple. Congratulations for winning the Champions League. Congratulations for doing your 6th best performance in European title history. I will no longer insult this team anymore. And since this is my public record, Dabo ne Liverpool. Well done, guys. Next year, it's our turn. Come on, you goonies. This is Kuda Mangwe saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.